Welcome to the Explainer. So there's this huge debate happening right now around age verification laws. On the surface, it's about protecting kids. But if you dig just a little deeper, some are saying this is the first step towards a totally new kind of digital identity, and maybe not a good one. Let's break it down.
All right, so let's dive right in. It all kicks off with this new law in California. And you might be thinking, okay, a California law, why should I care? Well, stick with me, because what's happening there is setting a precedent that could ripple out and completely reshape the internet for all of us, no matter where you live.
So, the law we're talking about, the one at the heart of this whole thing, is California's AB 1043. The pitch sounds pretty reasonable, right? Instead of every single app asking for your ID, your phone's operating system, your iPhone, your Android, just handles it once. Simple. But oh boy, the devil is in the details. And this one little change could have some seriously huge consequences.
Okay, so here's how it's supposed to work. Your operating system, think Apple, Google, Microsoft, is now required to ask your age when you set up your account. It then creates this, well, they call it a non-personal signal. Basically, it's a little flag that says which age bracket you're in. And the idea is, hey, this is great for privacy. You don't have to upload your ID to a million different apps. But, and this is a huge but, this is exactly where things start to get really, really controversial.
And this is where you can see it's not just a simple "Are you over 18" check. No. They've broken it down into 6 different brackets, and each bracket triggers a whole different set of rules. So depending on which box you're put in, apps have to treat you differently. Think about that for a second. For the very first time, your age category is going to be baked right into the core of your device, fundamentally changing what you can see and do online. It's a permanent label.
So you have this really weird situation. Proponents are yelling, this is great for privacy. But at the same time, critics are screaming that gathering all this age data in one place is, well, it's a privacy nightmare just waiting to blow up. And the real kicker? They argue it's actually going to put kids in more danger, not less.
You know, the Electronic Frontier Foundation really hits the nail on the head here. The main problem is that when you force everyone to upload sensitive information, you're not building a fortress. You're building a giant, glowing treasure chest for hackers. It's what we call a honeypot. And let's be real, history has taught us one thing about honeypots. They always get broken into.
And look, this isn't some what-if scenario. This isn't theoretical. It is happening right now. Constantly, Discord, TikTok, X, Uber, all these major platforms have used third-party verification services that got hacked, exposing people's actual government IDs and photos. It's just wild. The very tools meant to protect people are turning into the biggest liabilities. It's a perfect example of the solution being way worse than the original problem.
And if the security risks weren't enough, the whole thing is on shaky legal ground. You've got 2 huge challenges. First, there's a constitutional argument called the Commerce Clause. The question is, can California, just one state, make a law that forces huge global companies to change their products for everybody on the planet? It's a massive overreach. But here's the best part, the real irony. Critics are pointing out that this law probably violates California's own constitution, which has some of the strongest privacy rights in the country. It's like a betrayal of its own principles.
All right, so the software plan is leaky, legally questionable, and a security mess. So where does this go next? Well, this is where the path takes a much darker turn. The logic goes like this. If you can't trust the software, you have to go deeper. The only way to really enforce this is to bake identity right into the physical hardware of your computer, your phone, your tablet.
And it all hinges on this little guy, the Trusted Platform Module, or TPM. Chances are you already have one in your device right now and you don't even know it. It's a special chip on the motherboard, and the easiest way to think about it is like a unique, unforgeable birth certificate for your machine. It's a hardware signature that can't be changed.
So what can this chip do? It enables something called remote attestation. And that sounds technical, but here's what it means. A service, like your bank or even a social media site, can remotely put your computer on trial. It can ask it, has your software been modified? Are you running an approved operating system? The TPM chip then acts like a witness, providing cryptographically secure answers. It's not verifying you, it's verifying your machine is compliant.
And just listen to how the industry talks about this. Red Hat calls it the foundation for digital trust, and that's a really key phrase, because what it signifies is a huge shift. We're moving away from a world where services have to trust you, the user, to a world where they only have to trust your device, because your device is locked down and verified. So here it is. This is the big fear. This is the slippery slope people are terrified of. You take that unchangeable hardware ID from the TPM chip and you link it to a government-verified digital ID. a real ID, a digital passport, whatever you want to call it. And just like that, poof, online anonymity is gone. Every action you take on that device can be tied directly to you, the person. It's a permanent digital passport you can't escape.
Okay, so let's play this out. Where does this road end? If you follow all these steps to their logical conclusion, well, according to some analyses, the end game has nothing to do with protecting children. It's about building the perfect infrastructure for total, top-down digital control.
And this is a quote that gets brought up a lot by people who are worried about this stuff. It's from Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum. Ultimately, we want a fusion of our biological and our digital identities. When critics see quotes like that, they don't see an innocent desire for convenience. They see a roadmap for something much, much bigger.
This is the digital prison scenario that the sources lay out. Just imagine it. You need a valid digital ID for everything: banking, healthcare, travel, even just to get on the internet. Now, what happens when the system is in place? What happens when the validity of your ID can be turned on or off based on, well, anything? A social credit score? How much carbon you've used this month? Whether you've said the right things online? Your access to society itself could be revoked with the flip of a switch.
But it's not all doom and gloom. Faced with this pretty scary potential future, there's a really interesting resistance building. You've got privacy advocates, developers, and tech-savvy folks who are already figuring out ways to fight back, both by cleverly complying with the law and by actively resisting it.
One of the coolest ideas is this strategy called minimal compliance. It's brilliant. It's about following the letter of the law, but not the spirit. So, okay, the law says the OS has to ask for an age bracket. Fine. You add a simple little prompt when you first set up the machine. It saves the answer to a local file, not in the cloud, not tied to anything permanent. And here's the best part. You make it super easy for the user to just delete the whole tool right after. You've checked the box, complied with the law, but you haven't built a prison.
Ultimately, though, a lot of people argue that this whole fight is going to boil down to the hardware we choose to use. It's a fundamental split. On one side, you have closed proprietary hardware from big corporations. They control the keys, they control the firmware, and your identity is tied to their cloud. On the other side is the dream of open source hardware, where you, the user, are in control. Everything is auditable, you can see how it works, and you own your identity. But building that open hardware future is not going to be easy. There are huge barriers in the way. For starters, you've got laws like the DMCA, which literally make it illegal to get around the encryption on firmware, even if you're just trying to make things work or check for backdoors. And get this, the powerful AI models we'd need to reverse engineer these lockdown chips, well, their terms of service from companies like Google and OpenAI explicitly forbid you from using them for that kind of work. They're locking the doors and hiding the keys. So is that it? Are those our only two options? A future of total surveillance or this incredibly difficult uphill battle for open hardware? Well, maybe not. There is another idea out there, a different path we could take that avoids this top-down centralized control.
It's a concept called self-sovereign identity, or SSI, and it completely flips the model on its head. Think of it like this. Right now, to prove you're old enough to buy a drink, you show your driver's license, which also shows your name, your address, your exact birthday, everything. With SSI, it's like having a magic card that just says, yes, this person is over 21, and nothing else. You control your data in a digital wallet on your phone, and you only share the absolute minimum proof required. You are in charge.
And that really brings us to the final, most important question in all of this. As we build the architecture for our digital future, we have to decide who holds the keys. Who is the ultimate authority on your digital self? Is it the state? Is it the company that made your phone? Or is it you? That's the decision on the table, and the choice we make now is going to define what freedom looks like for a long, long time.